Go to the Custom Shape tool in Photoshop in the Tools panel. Then go up to the top left and select Shape. I want it as a vector design. So Vector Design, Shape. Set a preset, set a colour. And I'm going to go with an arrow. It can be any size. That's the great thing about vectors. But what I want to do is add multiple strokes to it. And that's not so easy in Photoshop. Certainly with lots of shapes, you get imperfections. So what I need to do is go to Edit and Copy. However, before I do that, what I want to do is Direct Selection tool. Because sometimes when I copy it into Illustrator, it doesn't copy. So I often go here. This is the way around it. Direct Selection tool and select over the whole thing. So make certain all the points, everything's been selected using Direct Selection tool. And then Edit and then Copy. And then go over to Illustrator. Now I'm using 222. Edit and Paste. Because sometimes when I go into this, you'll find it's all been disabled. You just can't access it. But this way with the Direct Selection tool, it seems to get around that issue and allows me to paste it. So compound shape, fully editable. I'm just going to select that. And you can see the design. Now, of course, it's lost the colour. You'd think by 2022 that you'd be able to do it very easily between Photoshop and Illustrator. But sadly, doesn't seem to be the case. So now I'm just going to select the colour and I'm going to just resize it. So I'm just going to resize it a bit so I can show it there. Key panel for this, Appearance panel. Appearance panel, which you can find in the window menu and Appearance. Do everything in the Appearance panel. Strokes, add effects, remove effects, etc. In this case, I want to add a stroke. So I'm just going to go over here and stroke. Just going to go for black. So I'm just going to select that. It's best, I think, to start right at the beginning, the biggest one first. Makes it easy to think it through, certainly for myself. So I'm just going to go for 100. That's going to be the size. And you can see what I'm doing here. I've got the stroke. If I go there, I've got the stroke, that one. I'm going stroke to center. Possibly best to go stroke to outside. If you want to just make it so you can see the stroke outside. So it's all worked stroke outside. So that's the third option. 100 point. And that's the biggest one. Now what I can do, I can go and add another stroke. So add a new stroke. And this time I don't want to go for 100. I'm going to go for 80. You can see I could choose any. I could type 78 there. Just as easy, 78 there. However, what I'm going to go for is a different colour. Because obviously you can't see it at the moment. So you can see now I've got red. Well, what I can do, I can add another one. So I'm just going to add a new stroke. And I'm going to go with green. Obviously, I'm just going to go run through a few colours. And of course, it's the same colour. And it's outside, both. So they're overlapping. So that's not much use if you don't change the size. So I'm just going to go down to 60. I can now add another stroke. So I'm just going to go here, add new stroke. Now I can add other things. I can add effects and much, much more. So I can change the size this time again for this one. So I'm just going to go for 40. And obviously, I don't want green. I'm going to go with blue. And you can see the result. You can just see the colours here. So you've got yellow for the fill. That's that. You've got stroke 100, which is the black one. And then red. Then you've got green. And then you've got blue. So you've got a really nice sort of colour scheme here. And you've got no kinks or distortions. And that's something that happens in Photoshop if you use like a layer effect to add a stroke. So with this design now, well, what you want to do is copy it back to Photoshop. Now that works easier. Illustrator to Photoshop seems to be really, really smooth. But unfortunately, Photoshop to Illustrator doesn't always seem to work as well. So edit and copy. And now go back to Photoshop, back into Photoshop. Now I'll just remove that, don't want that anymore. And paste. So edit and paste. And it does give you a few options. It'd be nice if there was a visual display for this. It'd be nice if it showed you, because you think, oh, I don't know what path means. What will be the implications of shape layer? So a visual display would be really nice, a preview. So I'm going to go with Smart Object. So, and also adds it to my current library. So which is great. And you can see it then added there. Yes, bring it in. And you can see now it's been added to my libraries, and you can find that in the window menu and Vector Smart Library. And you've got your design now with all of the additional strokes being added. And the great thing about it is you can still edit it. So you can see you go over here to layers, and you can just go over here and you can see a little cloud there, just very tiny. And you can double click, and then you go back into Illustrator, and you've got it again in Illustrator. Now it works nicely. Once it's a smart object, seems to work a bit easier. Smart objects are probably the way forward. And of course you can edit it now in Illustrator. Again, if you want to, appearance panel, you can add additional strokes, etc. or not. And of course in Photoshop now, I can apply effects to it. I can go to layer and layer style and maybe drop shadow. So you can add a nice drop shadow to your design. Click OK. Hope you found this of interest. Thank you much.